All right, everyone, welcome in. It is Monday. It's Game 7. It's time for Total Bases. We have hit the home stretch here. We've only got, I think I did the math. No matter what happens, I believe we have like 6 shows left. So today, the World Series starts on Friday. We'll be here with you through the World Series next week, but we still have the ALCS Game 7. Dodgers Brewers didn't give us much excitement. Well, I mean, Shohei Ohtani's a pretty exciting guy regardless. How the series goes. But Bryan, Leonard, this series has kind of delivered back and forth. Feel like it's anyone's guess as to how these games are going to go. Road teams in this series, 1-5, I believe. Or I'm sorry, 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the home team is 1-5. Game 5 in Seattle. I'm sorry. God, it's Monday. Blue Jays won last night. Anyway, scratch that from the record. Probably maybe the worst intro of the season to this point, but it's Game 7. So welcome in. How was your weekend? Let's go around the horn first, and then we'll get into the game.
Yeah, mine was pretty good. I only had one NFL play yesterday, and it was a nice win around the Rams. I had a hard time handicapping yesterday's card. I didn't see a lot of value, so I used a free play on the over, and I had the over in the baseball game. And then I had the Rams. And Saturday, a little disappointing. Smaller plays didn't work out. I think I went 3-5, but the winners were the bigger plays. So looking to get back in the winning circle today. And this, you mentioned the baseball game. This has been a hard series to figure out from a side standpoint.
Well, last 2 games I had Blue Jays, so I'm pretty happy about that. It was the last 2 games, right? They've won 2. No, the Mariners. Okay, yeah. I had the Blue Jays in Game 4, and then I took the Blue Jays again yesterday, so I won both of those. So, but yeah, generally the side is hard for this series because the teams are pretty equal. In my opinion, Toronto has the better hitters, but I mean it's comparable because, man, what Seattle did at the break, the batters they added in Suarez and Naylor. I mean, very comparable lineup. Generally, I think the Jays starters have been stronger than Seattle's, but Seattle's bullpen's been stronger. So that's why we're getting a back and forth kind of zigzag series here. And man, Seattle hasn't been in the World Series since 2001, and Toronto's never been there. So this is
they weren't in the World Series in 2001. That was Diamondbacks Yankees. I think they lost in the ALCS.
Okay, well, it was the early 2000s when Seattle was there last, I think. No,
when did I don't know if the Mariners have ever been to a World Series. I don't think they've ever, I don't think they've ever gone.
No.
Let's ask the chat. I know Toronto has not ever been there.
Toronto won back-to-back titles. They won, Joe. That was my first baseball memory as a kid.
I got the teams mixed up.
Carter
hit you're right. So the Joe Carter team was there. But that was back in the 90s, right? So
93. I think I was 7. I was 7 years old. That was like core memory for me. Blue Jays, Joe Carter walking it off.
In either case, it's been a long time since either one of these teams has been there. Is this just a sacrificial lamb series to get sacrificed to the Dodgers or what? We'll talk about that on Friday, I guess. But it's been punch counterpunch the whole series, which has been quite fun baseball to watch. They've all been overs except Game 1, right?
A lot of scoring in this series. Yep, I was just trying to think back to what my record is in this series. At Game 1 was 3-1. I had the Mariners in that game and won. I then tried to bet Luis Castillo. He got destroyed. So I think that's where I'm at in this series. I think I've played 2 of these games so far. Both times it was the Mariners. I'm 1-1. And now we're at Game 7. And I still feel like I'm kind of leaning toward the Mariners. Definitely from a value perspective here, I feel like this is kind of a coin flip. But I'll go to Bryan Leonard first. Are you trying to get involved? And you've been killing the totals in this series. So is that kind of where you would go back here?
Yeah. Totals, I don't think I've lost any of them. And on the side, I think I did lose one side so far. and it was probably an ugly one. But yeah, overall, can't complain at all. Got Kirby against Bieber, and the current line is Bieber about close to 125 to 130 favorite, 127. Total 7.5, slightly to the under in some places, but pretty much across the board, it's flat. I'm concerned about Kirby in this game, and I will tell you why. I think I might have really liked Kirby the last time he went out, and I realized that because of his pitching style, where he doesn't walk anybody, he's in the 89th percentile in walks. He's always in the strike zone. Well, you've got a Toronto team here who doesn't strike out a lot, and they swing at the first pitch a lot. So for his pitching style, he might have to pitch backwards, as they say, doing something totally different than what you normally would do, because he has not had a lot of success against this team. And I think that is something that really helps Toronto here, at least from an offensive standpoint. Obviously, we like the Seattle bullpen a little bit better than we like the Toronto bullpen. So I may end up trying to find something that way. But the Kirby staying in the strike zone is rarely is it a problem, but it is against a team who swings as hard and as early as Toronto does. And as I mentioned, they don't strike out a lot. From the other side, Bieber, he did not look good in the first inning last time he pitched, but he settled down after that. And that's good for him. That's good for Toronto. But it's still another team here where they've seen him before. Seattle has seen him before. And I think that's an advantage for the batters. So once again, if I'm playing the over at 7.5. We're getting similar numbers that we got in Seattle. And the Toronto hitting environment is much better than Seattle. It should be at least one run higher, which would mean that this game would have been a 6.5 in Seattle. I don't think so. At 7.5 over is probably the best way to look at this. As the day goes on, I'll see if I can find some advantage on another way for clients for maybe team total, something like that. But right now, hey, don't fix it if they haven't broke it, and that's the over. I'm looking at that again once again here in this baseball game.
I think we can't hear you, TB. While you're fixing your mic, I will say that when I was a kid, probably 9-10 years old, my parents bought me all these nice clothes. The only thing I ever wanted to wear to school ever was that teal Ken Griffey Jr. jersey. I had a teal mesh Griffey Jr. jersey, and those Mariners teams from the mid 90s were my favorite. And they never got over the hump. I believe they got to a wild card, or they beat the Yankees. Famous Griffey sliding into home, could never get to the World Series. And then in 2001, 116 win Mariner team ran into the Yankees, who eventually lost to the Diamondbacks in what I consider to be of my lifetime that I can remember witnessing the greatest World Series that I've ever seen. 2001 D-backs, Yankees. TB, you want to test your mic again? We still don't have you. So you know what? We'll come back. Go ahead again. Well, TB has left the building for a minute. I'll jump. Man. Yeah, he's got to get a new mic. That's all right. If that mic can last 6 more shows, then we can, we'll have time for them to ship him a new one. I'll start talking about he might be back. I'll start talking about go ahead.
Yeah.
There you go.
5% play on this game. So I'm feeling really good about it. And if you listen to my analysis, you'll probably figure out which way I'm going on this. I think the Blue Jays are on a roll right now, and I kind of agree with what Bryan said about Kirby. He's a great pitcher up to this season, but he's just not reliable right now. And against this team, in his career, he has a .310 batting average against and an .864 OPS against, and he has one of the worst home road splits. Not one of the worst, but I mean, it goes from a 3 ERA at home to a 5+ ERA on the road. Bieber, on the other hand, 546 OPS against these batters in his career. He's a good home pitcher, and I think he's very underrated. So Given the fact that Toronto's on a major roll right now, I think you guys can tell which way I'm going on this one.
I just got a Keon Neon in the chat. It says 2001 seemed like a monumental upset because the Yankees were going for a 4-peat. Yeah, they were actually going for I think it would have been their 5th one in 6 years. So they had won 96, 97, 96, 98, 90. Yeah, so it would have been a 4-peat. They won in 96, the Marlins in 97, 98, 99, 2000. And 2001, I was in 10th grade, and I was already a pretty big baseball fan. And I loved that Diamondbacks team. And of course, I grew up in New York, probably a couple hours north of New York City. And 2001 was, the playoffs were a month after 9/11. And I was rooting hard for the Diamondbacks. And I would come to school, and like all my friends were Yankee fans. Everyone in my school is a Yankee fan. And I got there's a lot of heat on me for openly rooting for the D-backs. Like you would have thought I was Bin Laden at the time. Like it was just, but that was an incredible series, the back and forth, the walk-offs. And they were a huge underdog. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out what made it even more memorable was because it was the shocking situation in New York, and the country as a whole was rooting for the Yankees. And I've always been a Yankees hater, but I was kind of rooting for them too. But the one team in the National League I really liked was that Arizona team, so I felt that way too. So I think that in memories, I think that's what made it even more, was because so many people were rooting for the other side. It made it look like it was a bigger upset, and it was, but it's a bigger upset than what we thought it would be.
Yeah,
and I think that was the series with Schilling's bloody sock as well, wasn't it? And they had Schilling and Randy Johnson. Schilling pitched, I think, game 7, was it? I'm not sure which game it was, but he had the bloody sock and he kept going.
It was with Boston when he had the bloody sock. I don't know.
Okay, my mistake.
I'm
way off today, guys.
After the season's over, I blank it out and then go on to the next year,
But they did have Schilling. They had Randy Johnson. It was a great series. And it was unexpected that the Diamondbacks took that, for sure. Mark Grace was on their team, I believe, at that time. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm way off today, guys. So
yeah, well, hey, it's game 7. We got a little time to chat. What's up, Megan? That's my friend Megan in the chat. Says love you, Trig. Shout out to you as well.
She must know you. She just isn't going to give you a girl come in and say, "Hey, love you, Trig."
Anyway, as far as that series is concerned, though, that would have been Schilling in game. He was the game 7 starter. It was Johnson and Schilling were like the studs all year. Johnson came out and won. I believe he got the save in game 7. And if you really want to relive that in about 2 minutes, when the Diamondbacks and Giants played about a month ago, they had Brentley and Bob Melvin sit in the dugout and sort of watch the final inning on the Jumbotron of the ballpark and talk about it and, reminisce about it, so on and so forth. So that was very cool. That is on YouTube. It's about a 2-minute video and absolutely worth the watch. So take a look at that if you want to go relive the 2001 World Series. And TB, people forget that the Mariners were far and away the most dominant team in the league that year. 116 wins, historic team. They were the favorite in the ALCS, and the Yankees were the I believe the 2. I mean, I don't know if they were the favorite from a betting standpoint. I bet it was pretty close, but they were the what? They had a historic season.
And Mark Grace did play for the Diamondbacks 2001 to 2003, so he was in that series. I remember.
Oh yeah, great. Tony Womack, Mark Grace,
Luis Gonzalez,
Council. Yeah,
Luis Gonzalez, and that Seattle team was amazing too. Didn't they have Bueller and Griffey and Ichiro and?
Great. No, that was Ichiro. I believe is early. That was his first year. So yeah, it was
amazing that year. Good stuff.
Yep. Go ahead.
No. That's it. I was gonna ramble on a little more. That's okay. No need.
I was just gonna say back to this game. Again, I was on the on the End Zone live stream yesterday, we were joking about I said, man, I kind of hope, I knew I wasn't going to have action in the game. I said, I kind of hope the Mariners just win so I don't have to show up this morning and like try to make a case for this game. Cause it's just a very difficult game to make a case for. I think if you have watched this whole series to this point and you truly, like the way I look at it, you truly feel like you have a good angle in tonight's game, like more power to you. It has been totally unpredictable. I did misspeak at the beginning of the show. 4 road wins, 2 home. Home teams are 2-4. I don't know that either of these. I don't think there's really a home field edge. Like maybe like it's going to be loud in the ballpark, so on and so forth. But it's like, I don't know the way I look at it. Like, am I giving Toronto like this big home field advantage here? Not really. Not to something that would, I think, cause the Mariners to not be able to win this game. What I think it comes down to ultimately is the managers who messes up. That's what I think it's going to come down to. And unfortunately, I don't have a managerial edge here either, because Schneider's done some things that I haven't necessarily agree with, and George Kirby, sorry, I had my screen up, and Dan Wilson is a little bit new to this. And I think Wilson, I had complimented him, and we can go back around the horn and touch on this, but I had complimented Wilson up until this series on sort of managing his team like he did in the regular season. So it's like a lot of these managers, you have the AJ Hinches of the world, who I think is the best manager, who is going to do this stuff in the regular season. You almost trust him to like go crazy. Now you could argue that it probably cost him in the last series, but he's like in the upper echelon of managers. Okay. And then you have the guys that get to the playoffs and it's like all of a sudden they hit the panic button and they're, like Schneider, in my opinion, the last time Bieber was on the mound, game 4, I think it was game 4 against the Yankees, or game 3, where he had the lead, panicked, went to the bullpen, tried to get 6 innings out of the bullpen. Wilson was kind of just cruising along saying, you know what, I've got this great rotation, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, we'll leave Bryce Miller in. And I thought it was working. A couple times in this series, I haven't necessarily agreed with how he's sort of, with the buttons that he's pushed. Jose Perez says Mariners bullpen is better. I think I would agree with that too. But it also comes down to like when you go to the bullpen, what matchups you're trying to lean on. That's where it's like, it's tough. And then yesterday, I'll point out from yesterday's game, couple big mistakes from the Mariners. Base running mistake early, Gino Suarez with an error, like the kind of stuff that's going to get exposed in the playoffs. And so I lean toward the Mariners, especially at the price. Again, give me plus 115 in a game I think is a coin flip. I kind of have to look at that. But boy, is this tough to pick a side. You want to follow up to any of that, Brian?
No, I agree. I think Toronto's going to have a pretty good hitting day. But other than that, it's the whole series has been it's been a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, much more fun than the National League. And we were talking about shows and stuff. I just wanted to say, they got a new documentary out about Roberto Clemente, and I watched it over the weekend, and it was excellent. It's like 2 hours. It's pretty in depth. It's got his sons, a lot of the players that played on those teams with him. What a loss. But it was very, very, very good documentary if you're looking for one.
Yeah, regarding managers here, I think Seattle has a slight advantage. I've seen Schneider make some really questionable calls. The most questionable call I've seen him make is using Little at all. I mean, that guy is horrible. I mean, if he gets in the game, we got some problems.
Little was really good. He was a good pitcher for them during the regular
season. Not in this postseason. I mean, putting him in high leverage situations is a recipe for disaster for the Jays. I hope they don't use him today, but we'll see. Yeah, this postseason he just hasn't been there. I've questioned some of Schneider's. I thought he'd take some of his starters out at the wrong time, but I think today it's not going to be such a bullpen game. I think a lot of the chat saying this too. I think you could see, 5th starters or guys who haven't started for 5 days or 4 days go in there and give them an inning or two. We might see Miller, or we might see, some of the Toronto starters that haven't played for a while. We'll definitely see Wu, I think. He didn't look sharp when he went in the other day, but I think, off a hiatus, that's kind of expected. But Wu is a great pitcher. So I don't think the bullpen is going to be that big of a factor. I think starters is going to be more of a factor because they will probably be using fourth and fifth starters here.
Yeah, it's all hands on deck. It's game 7. That's the thing. Makes it super challenging to really, handicap what's that. I mean, we handicap baseball all year, and for me, a lot of my handicap is the known, or at least what I think is going to be the known relative to like where the books have something priced. And that's what makes it almost impossible to really get to the window with a side in a game 7. It's like, there's so many different ways this game can go. There's just, it's your guess is as good as mine, kind of. That's really what makes, especially when you get to this point in the playoffs, makes betting these games extremely challenging. That's my opinion on it. I ended up with 2 bets in the ALCS series, and I will be shocked if I have like more than 2 bets in the World Series, because unless like the Dodgers are such big favorites that they're just going to hand you value on the other side, which I have a feeling is going to be the case. And maybe we'll see. We'll see. We'll leave that discussion till Friday when we have an opponent for that game. But yeah, it from a watching standpoint, doesn't get better than this. Game 7, 2 very evenly matched teams, and kind of a breath of fresh air. Like getting it doesn't matter who you get. Getting the Jays or the Mariners in a World Series here is going to kind of be great, I think. And this, let me ask you this before we sign off, Brian. Will this be, from a favorite underdog standpoint, one of the most lopsided World Series in recent memory? Can you remember a bigger one? At least where you think this series might be priced.
For the World Series?
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, do you think the Dodgers are going to be a massive favorite against either of these two teams?
Yeah, I believe they will. And there's a lot of times you get to the World Series and one team, like I remember one year I backed the Padres. I got a really good number of like 80-1, and they ended up playing the Yankees in the World Series. The Yankees were still a 4-1 favorite over them. And I think they got swept. But yeah, it's the popular teams, and I hate to say it because I'm not a conspiracy guy. The popular teams going to the World Series happens more often than you would know. And who is the team? If you were Major League Baseball, which team do you want to win this game? You want Toronto because it's entire country going against Canada, the United States, that kind of thing. That could build it up a little bit more, especially in this time of political upheaval in both countries a little bit. That would be something that if you were one of those kind of guys, you would think Toronto. But I'm not one of those kind of guys, so it comes down to me where the better team is going to win. And like I said, I'm concerned about Kirby. If he starts running into problems and take him out of the game early, then maybe Seattle can get there. If not, if they keep him in there and expect regular season Kirby against most other teams, they may keep him in too long. So we'll see. I just think Toronto scores some runs in this game.
Not a conspiracy guy either, because baseball is going to be fine, whether it's the Royals versus Brewers or the Yankees versus Dodgers. They're going to be fine next year. I don't think it really matters. They're not going to be going bankrupt because bad teams are in the World Series. But yeah, I'm not one of those conspiracy guys either. I mean, it's pretty obvious if the umpires are calling a different strike zone for one team or another. I think the NFL, you could kind of get into that more because so many holding calls or phantom, call it a catch or not. But in baseball, I think it's pretty hard to for a umpire to have a different strike zone for different teams, unless you're Angel Hernandez. That guy was just a wacko.
Keon makes a good point. Maybe you get some woo and bulk. This is what I'm saying. Like there are so many different ways that this game could go relative to maybe how it starts early. Again, I think, I'm looking at just different bet, like the spread market. The Mariners +1 is only like -134 right now. I think if you gave me an extra 10 cents on that, and I could have the run cushion with the Mariners, knowing I would push if they lose, like in a late game situation or a walk-off, I might take that. But again, it's I think this will be a better show on Friday with a new series, because I do believe in these playoff series too. Oftentimes the value, at least from a side standpoint, is early in the series before things have happened. Once you get to game 6, game 7, it gets really difficult.
Yeah. Both teams know each other so well by now. Yeah. And I'm as much as I've enjoyed this series, I'm kind of bored with it at this point. It's like, my team's not involved. So I'm just trying to get it over with, and so we can go to the World Series.
One point to make about Wu, if I may. He looked shaky when he made his appearance the last start. I don't know if that's because he was on a hiatus or if it's because the pressure of the postseason. It's his first postseason. I'm not sure he's going to be the reliable guy that he usually is. So just a note on my part.
They bring him in from the bullpen?
They did.
Yeah. And he's used to starting. It's different. But now that they do that, he's got a little experience at it. If they bring him in, he's a hell of a pitcher.
He is. I don't know if his stumbles were because of the postseason pressure or just because he had some time off. But I don't expect him to be terrible 2 games in a row. But postseason can really crack some people, as we've seen with Clayton Kershaw and a couple others.
It's playoff baseball. It just doesn't get better. The baseball playoffs are as good as it gets. Game 7. If this is a close game, I mean, just think about Game 5 of Mariners Tigers. Who thought the Mariners and the Tigers could produce a sort of game of that caliber? Even that's a great thing too. It wasn't even a great game from a execution standpoint, but still, just tremendous. Mark A. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you want to. I don't think Major League Baseball cares. They got the Dodgers. They could care less who it is. Great, huge Asian fan base in Seattle. Are arguably the biggest of anywhere in the U.S. So yeah, it'll be great either way. And admittedly, I'm much more excited. I am much more excited to come back here, see you guys on Friday, and talk Game 1 of the World Series when we have new matchups. And again, I truly believe that these playoff series, as you get very deep into the playoffs, the value is going to be in the first couple games, and then it's going to just be very, very difficult to handicap. So we'll be looking forward to that. TV has the play in this game, so check that out if you're looking for a play in this game. And go
to wagertalk.com.
Brian, do you have anything else in any other sport tonight?
I'm just about to handicap my hockey. I did want to say it, and it does it starts 2 hours later than the World Series, but Carolina is at Vegas tonight. Neither team has lost a regular game in regulation all season long. So that's going to be a really good game, and it's like a pick'em price. So if you like hockey, or if you're new to hockey after the World Series, check it out.
Do you have tickets?
I don't have tickets. I may, man, my wife's in the other room. I was going to say I may end up going, but I guess she'll have to know if I'm going.
Yeah.
She loves it more than I do, so I'd have to take her. But no, I
don't. Well, the Japan series just got decided today because SoftBank beat Nippon Ham, which is Darvish's and Otani's old team. So it'll be SoftBank Hawks against the Hanshin Tigers, and I will have plenty of plays there. Don't forget, guys, Wager Talk allows Adam and I to sell our KBO for half price, and they allow all of us to sell our MLB non-5% plays at $9. So you can get those when the World Series starts. So something to look forward to on Friday.
Yeah, we'll have that's probably where I'll be at. There's 2 Monday Night Football games. Actually, incredibly, my like where I've been doing the best the last few weeks is the NFL, which the reason I say incredibly and laugh at that is it's probably the hardest market to beat. So I don't know if I can count on that going forward, but hey, the NFL games keep winning. So maybe I'll play one of the two tonight, or we've got some for me, it'll be early morning KBO tomorrow. And, that series just got interesting with Samsung taking game 2. So Hanwha Samsung, always plenty of stuff to bet on. I'll promo one thing. 2 weeks from today will be our college basketball show. Myself, Bryan Power, Rob Vino, same format, way more teams. So I'm like excited and terrified all at the same time, but I think we've got a beat on quite a few of them. So if you come in, you roll in and you're like, Trig, tell me something about the Lafayette Leopards, I think I can do it. So we're going to try to cover as much as possible there. I'm very much looking forward to it. Go ahead, Bryan.
I just want to touch on something. I know we got to leave and everybody's got things to do, but you had mentioned Rob Vino, and we've talked in the past about him. He has been on fire. I think he went 6-0 again last night. Hats off to Rob Vino. He's just been on a tremendous run overall over at the site. So, yeah, he's always been very streaky. And when he gets on one of these streaks, I make sure I'm on it.
There we go. I need him to be streaky still 2 weeks from now. So hopefully he can keep it going. All right, guys, we'll miss you the rest of the week. No games the next 3 days, but we will be back on Friday morning to break down game 1 of the World Series, Dodgers against whoever wins tonight. Have a great day. Cash all your tickets. $5 Tuesday tomorrow, of course, since we won't get a chance to ram that down your throat about 10 times during the show. Don't forget, all plays $5. We'll see you here back on Friday morning.